Kia ora everybody and welcome to Insider's Guide. Today we're discussing what is quite possibly the most underrated ski field in all of New Zealand, Porters Alpine. While it may be small, there's a lot to love about Porters, all of which we'll get into today. As always, this video will be telling you only what you need to know to maximize your day at Porters, nothing else. So with that, let's begin an Insider's Guide to Ski Resorts, Porters. Now, the thumbnail asks if Porters is the most slept on resort in the country, and it really depends. It's super underrated for certain demographics. For example, it's a fantastic area for learning to ski, which you won't find on any list anywhere. It has an awesome natural progression from the carpet to the platter to the chairlift to the T-bars, and its beginner area is much less busy than the 5 major fields. It's also awesome if you want to just ski a half day, which is what a lot of people do, as it's at just the right size to entertain you for just an afternoon. As a whole, it is much smaller and less crowded than other South Island resorts. Mon paradis que c'est comme skiing in the 80s. Porters is also fantastic for advanced skiers, as their bowls seem absolutely endless. On the flip side, however, it's not great for experts, as there isn't a ton of expert terrain to explore. Additionally, due to the T-bar-centric nature of the field, it's not great for snowboarders. So, if you ski and are a learner or like skiing bowls and other off-piste, Porters is a fantastic option. For others, you may want to skip this one. But look, I'm not here to tell you whether or not to go to Porters. I'm here to tell you what to expect at Porters. So let's get into that. First off, for Porters, if you're going to ski anything above Easy Street, both physically above and higher in difficulty, you're going to need to know how to ride a T-bar. The basics of it is to hold your poles in your outside hand, look over your inside shoulder, grab the center of the T, and place it behind your butt. Let it pull you. Do not try to sit down. Also at Porters, there's a lot of places where the trail crosses the line of the T-bar. It's pretty simple. Time it up so you're nowhere near someone who's riding up the T-bar, but of course be super careful as you can easily get snagged by the T-bar tracks. Now, over on the far side of the car park is the beginner area, which I already mentioned. It's not a super wide area, so the runs can still feel a bit crowded, but it's still miles better than the beginner runs at other ski fields. The primary lift out of the base is Easyrider, which is a standard fixed grip quad. It's entirely ski ride on practically any weekday, and even on weekends and powder days, you'd be hard pressed to find a line that's longer than just a couple minutes. At the top, it kinda appears on the trail map that the bottom of Leaper is right next to the chairlift. However, it is significantly above, and thus requires riding the Stellar lift first. The only run accessible from Easyrider alone is Easy Street, which is the main groomer at Porters. It's fairly wide and isn't all that steep for a blue. It could pass for a green at other fields. It does get quite busy from time to time, so I prefer hanging out on the upper mountain. The groomed section continues up the looker's left side of Stellar. From Stellar, you can exit right and flip back around under the lift to extend your Easy Street run. This upper section is a tad bit steeper, but less busy. There is also this groomed traverse that goes around alternatively. The Leaper T is commonly just used to access the Sundance lift, which makes sense. However, the handful of runs it serves are some of the most overlooked at the field, which is why this area is my favorite area in all of Porters. You'll exit the lift left, but if you then flip back around and cross the lift, you'll be on this blue traverse that I'm calling the Leaper Traverse because I'm unsure of its official name. This traverse is super wide and very rarely skied, meaning you can often get a little bit of corduroy even at midday. It gets more skied off after it merges with McNulty's, but nonetheless, it's still a nice little groomer. It is a touch difficult to get back to Leaper from the traverse, so once you see the Stellar unload, keep right to go through that unload zone, but keep it moving so you don't impede other people coming off of Stellar. Back up at the top of Leaper, once you cross under the T, if instead of taking the road you head skiers right into the off-piste, you'll be hitting the lower Leaper zone. This is a fantastic open face to get some of those marquee Porters off-piste turns, and although it can be a bit rocky at the top, it's typically got good snow due to not getting skied very often. And now for my favorite run in all of Porters, Julian's Bowl. Julian's Bowl starts as 2 gullies that come together as one super wide gully at the bottom. The skier's left gully, which is more accessible, gets pretty skied off and moguled. But what I love about Julian's is its snow quality. Especially in the lower half, it seems to always be a minimum of chalky. It's absolutely fantastic. The only downside is that it takes you all the way down to Stellar, so it is a 2-lift lap. Now, the Sundance T offers access to everything that we haven't just discussed. Thus, out of the 3 T-bars, it is the only one even remotely possible of getting queues, but even here it's very, very rare. Exiting left off of Sundance yields access to this wide open face, head wall. Do beware that the snow typically blows onto the other face, so the snow cover is often much thinner on this whole area. Head wall is, of course, just a wide open face. If you continue along Big Bill's Traverse, you'll have access to Big Mama and Dome Face, which honestly blend together. There's not much to this area other than it's just a wide open bowl. It is a 4-lift lap, which is annoying, but that's just one of the quirks of Porters. I believe you can also hike up to the summit on this side to get some more untouched turns on the upper section, but don't quote me on that. A vast majority of people exit Sundance to the right because that offers access to a vast majority of the terrain. This Sundance Basin is a big bowl, all funneling back down to the lift. It gets highly skied, often developing moguls, so its snow quality typically isn't the best. Every now and again, they'll actually groom a section down the sloper's right side, but otherwise, it's not my favorite area. As you go along the ridge, a fence will begin on your left. Right there, on your right, there's a single track traverse you can take. You can actually use it to go all the way around to Solitude, as it just goes around the front side of the face while the blue road stays around behind. However, I typically only use this route to get to Upper Leaper, which is effectively just an extension of Sundance Basin and the Orongai Chutes. Now, there is a short little chute between Upper Leaper and Sundance Basin which can be fun, but if you want some real big boy stuff, you'll need Orongai. This is, in my opinion, the most difficult inbounds terrain at Porters. You basically have 4 options. You'll first come across a chute that starts off with plenty of room to turn, but then narrows down to only a ski length wide. This typically has the best snow coverage in Orongai. Next, you'll pass a spine, which is very rocky and often impassable. Another chute, also very rocky, is up next, but at the bottom of that chute, you'll have to contend with another rock field, so it's even trickier. And finally, you'll come across a third chute that isn't quite as tight or rocky as the others. From that first chute and spine, you can get back to Sundance. From the others, you'll have to take Leaper. Solitude, accessed from either the Traverse or the Blue, starts off with rocks lining either side, but it quickly opens up. Just like the runs on the left of Sundance, the wind makes the snow cover suffer here, so I'm not a huge fan of this area. The McNulty's Cat Track is typically the only groomed route down from the summit. It is extremely scenic along this top part, but it is also quite flat. It's pretty self-explanatory, as it's just a switchback road all the way down. You can drop off into the middle of the bowl depicted by this blue line, which typically has good snow coverage but is highly skied and thus often has moguls. They'll also sometimes build some park features in McNulty's. As you come up towards this first switchback, you'll be confronted with a 3-way fork. The far left fork is the hike, which is what we'll discuss first. This relatively easy hike takes about 20 minutes to go up along the ridgeline to the top of Allison's Peak. It gets extremely brutally windy, so be prepared for that. It has 3 false summits before the 4th true summit. Do not drop in until you reach the 4th summit, as if you go too early, you'll be in uncontrolled and unpatrolled terrain. You'll see a patrolled area boundary sign at the 4th summit, behind which it's then fine to go down. Put your skis on there, and then head to your right, following everyone else's tracks. Initially, you'll be in a nice, untouched mellow bowl, but don't be fooled. Very quickly, you'll find yourself in a set of chutes. This is Upper Bluff Face. It's difficult skiing, but not the hardest at the resort. Is it worth such a long hike? In my opinion, no, but to each their own. If at the fork you take the middle path, you'll be headed down Adrian's Highway. From there, you can drop skiers right into McNulty's Basin. This area is typically much less skied than the blues down in the bowl, and is more of that standard bowl skiing. If you continue traversing past that, you'll go through a pretty rocky area before reaching Bluff Face and Laurie's. Bluff Face is Porters' signature run, and a visit to Porters is incomplete without it. This area is quite steep, but it's also just a nice wide area to get some good turns. It fills in nicely and typically has terrific snow conditions. Don't Miss is a single black at its core, but has double black access. To get there, continue traversing beyond Bluff Face until you reach the ridge. From there, pick your way through the rocks until it becomes so rocky and uphill that you can't go any further. Then, head to your right for some of the most untouched off-piste in the whole field. The top half of Don't Miss can be quite crusty, but the bottom is typically nice and chalky. Do beware, however, that the last stretch onto the blues can be quite rocky. Well, that about wraps it up for Porters. Now go check out one of our other Insider's Guides, all about other resorts in New Zealand, North America, and Europe. As always, please put any questions down below. Thank you all so much for watching. All my love, I'm out.